A few minutes before we begin, we're going to ask that the champion will begin to line up on the wall to my right, and you will be called at the roll call time, which we will verify the number of persons that you are bringing for vote, that you have the registered voters. The captain, you will give them the captain on this wall on my right, and the captains will come up and you will give the number of registered voters. You will turn those in to the person who is doing the roll call, but we want to verify also.
That's what I was just wondering about. I did not do I got some things. Okay, she here. Okay. I see. Oh, okay. So there's 7. I counted. I saw that one. Yeah, I think I know what you
come and make a welcome to us, Reverend Walter Reed Jr.
Good afternoon. To the leadership and to the membership of Nashville Organized for Action and Hope, NOAH, to all of my brothers and sisters who are gathered here today for this very important and pertinent gathering. On behalf of the Greater Bethlehem Church family, we welcome each of you to tonight, 2019 Issues Convention. We're honored to host you. We hope and pray for a productive meeting and a successful outcome. Again, we welcome you.
Again, we want to thank Greater Bethlehem Church for once again opening up its doors to us, and we are highly grateful to them. This is an important day in the history of NOAH. We gather here today to determine which enemies of justice we will tackle as an organization. NOAH's congregations, its unions, and community organizations have chosen 10 problem areas in Nashville that we will vote on today. But we do acknowledge that these are not the only areas we find miscarriages of justice. For the last 5 years, we have focused on 3 issues and formed 3 task forces to handle these issues. Today, we will again choose 3 issues. And there is the possibility that the issues might remain the same, or we might establish a combination of present and new issues. But our ultimate goal is to bring about change in Nashville for the betterment of all its citizens. Now, after the vote for our issues, we ask each person present to fill out an issue card. This is the issue card that you should have received. If you do not have one, we will just raise your hand. We will make certain that you have an issue card. And on this issue card, you will volunteer where you would like to serve with respect to an issue and a task force. And I want to make certain that we all will be involved if we want to be successful in our task in Nashville. Now I want to direct your attention to our timekeeper. I'm going to ask our timekeeper to please stand. Now you're going to remain standing. I want you to show, in 1 minute, you're going to get the yellow card. In 1 minute to go. Then 30 seconds, you're going to get the blue. And then you only will have 15 seconds. Again, and you're going to get another yellow. And then red. It means stop. And we do hope that we all will please honor the allotted time. You will hear more about the time of respect as we go through this great event. At this time, we want to call for our opening prayers. We have 3 prayers from the Christian tradition. The Reverend Perry Wiggins of Alameda Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. And then in the Jewish tradition, we will have Mr. Ron Heddy of the Congregation Michael. And of the tradition of the Unitarian Universalist Church, we have Reverend Dr. Michelle Peterson of Greater Nashville Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We will ask that they will come, and they also have their allotted time also.
Let us pray. O holy and divine God, you who have called and anointed us all to set the captives free, to minister to and fight for and fight with those who too often have been left out, locked up, locked down, locked in, locked out, and left holding the bag. May we put our hope for righteousness, justice, and equality into divine action. O God, though we have different faith traditions here, different ethnicities, sexual orientations, social views, and social locations, let us all come together as one righteous body, showing compassion for all our sisters and brothers who are broken, as we commit ourselves to letting justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a never-failing stream, while reminding all the oppressors in this world that their time is up. O Lord, encourage our hearts, and may we have a divine assurance that you will always be our strength for today and our bright hope for tomorrow. I lift up this prayer in the mighty name of Jesus the Christ, and for his sakes I pray. Amen.
Amen.
God of justice and mercy, we seek your guiding presence among us and in us here today as we open our hearts and our minds to the tasks before us. We accept your commandment to pursue justice, and we come together this afternoon to continue our commitment to Tikkun Olam, repairing our world under your sovereignty. We know that we are not obligated to complete this daunting task, but we likewise know that we cannot desist or turn away from it. So as we sort and sift and select today, help us all to join in the sacred call to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with you, our God. Amen.
If you would pray with me. Spirit of life, infinite source of love, mercy, and justice. What an auspicious time of year to gather and consider the issues facing Nashville. All around us, birds are fledging, leaving the safety of the nest and taking their first flight. Getting to this place took time, commitment, patience, energy, and spirit. The young will continue to be fed and cared for a few weeks before they venture out on their own. The adult birds will then begin the process all over again, finding a suitable nesting site, laying and incubating eggs, and sending forth their next brood. And so it is with us. Several years ago, the foundation for NOAA was laid. Organizations listened to the concerns of Nashville and hatched 3 task forces. We invested in their fledging and continued providing nourishment as the task forces learned to fly and change Nashville. Now we begin the process again. We've listened closely to what is on the hearts and minds of our neighbors. We come together with our own individual concerns and know that we are all in this together. This afternoon, we gather from many traditions and ways of life to speak with one strong voice, to select issues for focus that center the voices of the marginalized. May we continue our deep commitment to improving the lives of Nashvillians. May we have patience as we grapple with issues facing Nashville. May we have the energy to continue to do this work, coming together again and again. And may the beauty of love, mercy, and justice feed our spirits. So be it. Amen.
We're going to ask now those who want those power prayers to take your seat. We're going to ask Jamie. We're going to ask Jamie to come. At this time, as she's coming, we asking that the registration desk, if you begin to bring all of the registrations in to us now, we have a roll call. And also, we ask now all champions, captains, will you please come to the floor? All of our captains, would you come and you would now make sure, but we want to wait until we get the official registration. So we're going to ask if the persons on the registration desk, will you please now bring us all of the registrations? And you will come to the microphone right here. We ask that it'll be on for us. So only thing we're waiting on now so that we can verify all of the count. Mike, will you see if they are ready? We will call you as soon they get them ready. So we want to, and to be certain, we'll be giving you a little more information about the number. So as soon as Jamie will get the official record of voters, we will begin to call each one. When they come up and you announce, please, when you come up, announce who you represent, and then we will verify the number. We have one official part. What we can do, we don't want to start because then you might have another roll. What we announce at this time will be the official vote for your organization. We have a few more moments. We want to make certain we have the right number of votes because the person who will be tallying the votes will let us know. Okay, we have the official list now. What we're gonna ask, each group will come, we're not gonna call you out by roll. We'll ask as you come, announce your number, then we will give the number for you, that this will be the number that you will have for all of our 3 votes that we have. So we're gonna begin, you can come to the beginning in the way you are, and we will call, and Jamie, we're gonna ask Jamie now, she will take charge, and she will check it off and let you know how many votes that you have that registered.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Jamie Woodruff. I'm here today representing my congregation, Edgehill United Methodist Church. Where you at? All right, it's time for our roll call. So as Reverend Thompson just mentioned, if you would come up to the podium right here, state your affiliation and the amount of, and I'll let you know. I'll be able to verify with the list that I have here how many votes. So who do we have starting first?
Perry Wiggins, pastor at Alameda Christian Church, Cypress Price.
Okay, you've got 2.
You have 2 registered.
Lyman?
Liza Ramage, Edgehill United Methodist Church. I have been counting and recounting and recounting. I think we have 22.
Our registration says you have 18.
Well, we're counting Mike and Bill and Jamie and Courtney and Andrew up there.
Did they register on the? I know. Did Andrew? Yes. Okay, that's registered.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 back there in the queue, and me,
I think 18.
and Jamie, Kira, and Mike, and Bill Howell, and Andrew Hamlet up there, and Courtney.
Andrew, did you register?
Yes.
He registered.
And Courtney.
Courtney registered. So we have 18.
Okay, we're gonna verify.
We'll verify before the vote.
Okay.
But now, no one, now, if you are here, you can just didn't go to the table, we can count you. But it's in there, so we will check with the registration later.
Excuse me, what number do we put down for Edgehill?
We started with 18 right now.
Okay.
We have 15.
Say your name and the organization again.
I'm Jane Walling with Metro Nashville Education Association, MEA. Thank you. Next, please.
I am Shirley Marks, and I'm with the Metropolitan Interdenominational Church, and we have 14 members here.
I'm Irene Boyd and with the Anawim Catholic community, and we have 5 people.
All right,
Just a
Jared,
moment.
can you
Just a
repeat your
moment.
organization?
What's your 5 and we trying to find,
Number 8.
okay, that's fine, that's good.
Verify, thank you.
Martha Carroll, Eastwood Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, we have 15.
We have 16.
Oh, all right.
I am Daniel Battle Griffin Jr. I'm with Lee Chapel, and we have 10.
We have 9. registered? Okay.
Jerry Clark with Belmont United Methodist, we have 6.
My name is Johnny Davis. I'm with SEIU, and we have 25 strong.
Ron Hetty, Congregation Micah, we have 10.
Nancy Kovalik, Greater Nashville Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We should have 15.
Joyce Neal, representing Kairos Community AME, and we have 20.
Phyllis Salz, West End United Methodist Church, and we just have 3. April Street is Spruce Street.
Wait a minute.
This is April Street, it's Spruce Street, and we have 2.
Carol Koppel, First Unitarian Universalist, 14.
We have 13.
I'm Linda Faye Bentley, Greater Belleville African Methodist Episcopal Church. We have 13.
I'm Pat Halper with the Temple, and we have 9.
We have 10.
Susie Reese from Christ Church Cathedral, and I think we have 17.
We have 16.
We have 16.
Hey, Odessa Kelly, Mount Zion Baptist Church, I believe we have 500. Oh, 2, okay. Ethan Link, Laborers Local 386, and we should have at least 7 hardworking delegates.
Jason Freeman, Middle Tennessee Jobs and Justice, 13.
We have 12.
Thank you.
I'm Aaron Stauber from Second Presbyterian Church, and we have 3.
Deborah Lashansky, Community Relations Committee, and unless someone else has come in, I believe we have 3.
Judy Sachs from West End Synagogue, and we have me. I'm Mark McIntyre from Glendale Baptist Church. We also have 1.
Vonda McDaniel with Central Labor Council, we have 3.
Now then, Tennessee Alliance for Progress, we have 4.
Verify.
All right, presiding elder Troy Mary, for St. Paul, Ms. Helen Lee is back here.
No, just in Nashville.
She can't come.
You call what now? Do yours first.
All right. National District, Mighty Woman.
Betty Overton, United Auto Workers, I think 2.
Excuse me, I know we only have 30 seconds, but we have to finish this at a time, so we ask one to carry on. We have to overgo the time on this.
Loretta Reed Matthews, Neighbors Retreat Ministries, 4.
Hewitt, representing Dane Foundation, and we have just one.
Oh, okay. Verify.
Great Chapel Haven Church, we have 13.
We have 4.
We have 14.
Charlotte West, St. John,
Grace Ready, Clark Memorial, 8.
We have 7. Did you sign it? You didn't get a chance to sign it. Sorry, it's too late now.
Good afternoon, Phyllis Hildreth, American Baptist College, and we have 3 because my president and his wife just walked in.
Unfortunately, we cannot change the rules. If we started changing the rules now, then we continue to change the rules throughout. That would not make it valid.
Alejandro Guisar with the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, and we have just the one.
Now, excuse me, which organization? Oh, Painters.
Is this y'all right here? IUPAT. Yeah, right there.
Oh, okay, we have it.
Yeah.
Byron Harvey, New Living Word Community of Faith. 2.
We don't have
any more registered.
it's on here, but there's no number by it. So, did you, okay, we have the other sheet, we were, just a moment, we're going to verify. That's right, 2.
Judy Cummings, New Covenant Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. There were 12 disciples, and we have 12 members here.
Okay, we have one who cannot come from St. Paul. Where's Mrs. Lee? Right there. She signed in for 1. I believe that's the end of the roll call. We have 1 we got to verify with Edge Hill. We have 19 that signed the list. Let's see. Oh, I see. We have 20. It's 20. Okay, that's we have for the Edgehill for 20.
What do you have for the chapel? Okay, because it's so lined up on the screen.
It's 10.
It's 10.
From the Chelsea.
Okay.
That was one correction, Tanya. That'll be 10. Okay. This is our. What is the total number that you have?
Hold on, because we had 3 of them that weren't on my original sheet, so I'm going in and putting those in right now.
We want to make sure we have the official count
Okay.
before we get started.
Edgehill was 20, right?
Yes, here is 20. While she's getting that number, I can go ahead on and I'm gonna ask Shay is here, if you will come up, Shay. If you look on your agenda, we will now just give some further information about the voting procedure, waiting for our final count. We also ask at this time that if you will make sure that you look at your agenda. When you look at the agenda, you will see the voting procedures. We will summarize the voting procedures at this time. Number one, registered voters for each organization are established at the beginning of the issue procedure. This is what we have just done. Number two, each organization will use the official registered voters up to 25. The official registered voters will be used as a block through each round of voting. Whatever number we have, this will be the number that we will use throughout the rounds of voting. And number three, votes cannot be split. They only can be voted in a block.
Number 4, organizations will be called in alphabetical order. A captain or representative will announce the selected issue. Each issue voted on will be confirmed from the dais. After each round of voting, the top issue receiving the most votes will be declared the winner and removed from the ballot. If there is a tie, the particular round must re-vote. So if there's a tie during that round, then we're going to have to do a re-vote. After the first round of voting, organizations can caucus up to 8 minutes of time before the next round of voting. And after the second round, we have 7 minutes of caucusing before the next round of voting. Any questions? Great. I'm sorry, I wasn't back.
Our votes are a little bit spread out. We couldn't get all in one section and along the road here. Are we going to be able to gather, or how is that going to work when we caucus?
What you can do when you caucus, you can caucus between yourselves, and also you might want to caucus with other groups.
No, I'm asking logistics. I can't caucus these folks down here very easily. Yeah. I'm sorry, what Jay said, there can be 8 minutes between where the organizations can come together and cluster up and discuss their issues before they happen. We can sort of gather around.
You can gather around, yes, because other people might be going out too, so you can gather. Any other questions? It's time now. Okay, thank you. Do we have the official count?
Yes, do we want to go down the list first to make sure that the numbers are correct?
I think we have to make certain, and if there's any problems, we will have, where's Jamie? Jamie will let, if there's any will be counted, she will verify if it's different.
Right now it's in 298.
Okay, we have 298 that will be able to cast votes.
Correct.
At this time, as we continue, we're going to ask if Dr. Donald Whitney will come at this time from the Metropolitan Denominational Church.
I am grateful for this opportunity to speak with you, and I'm grateful for the statement on systemic racism that the NOAA Executive Committee recently released, because it's so well worded and it allows my words to flow more freely. I'm here to tell you that during our listening campaign at Metropolitan Interdenominational Church, we heard the unanimous and emphatic observation that systemic racism is the primary issue facing our city, sometimes overtly, often covertly. Furthermore, our members told us that racism is not just a factor in the other problems that face the city. It's the primary driver of every problem that faces Nashville on every front, including health, employment, education, law enforcement, housing, and incarceration. Racism is the background and the foreground of every one of Nashville's pressing problems. To be clear, nobody called any person a racist. Systemic racism operates fully effectively without malicious or racist intent on the part of any individual because it's woven into the fabric of life and the fabric of death of our society. And it's never neutral. Some win, some lose, and in the long run, we all lose. Once encoded into the life-dealing and death-dealing organ systems of our social body, systemic racism generates its ever-expanding influence without conscious intent, much like a virus after it's insinuated itself into the DNA of a host cell. Metropolitan Interdenominational Church recommends this commitment to NOAH, that in every arena where we seek to make a difference on the side of justice, that we fearlessly, relentlessly, honestly, and intelligently identify, examine, address, and engage systemic racism at every step of our research and strategy. If we want to be taken seriously, if we want to take ourselves seriously as NOAH, we will do this. Thank you.
That's what I was just wondering about. I did not realize I got some experience. Okay, she here. Okay. I see. Oh, okay, okay. So there's 7.
This time we're going to ask for organizer Alexander Swart to come at this time.
Good afternoon, everybody. 5 years ago, NOAH decided to do this same process to figure out what issues really speak to our city. We could have easily sat in a room and had Mike or Reverend Thompson or anybody decide what to work on. But instead, we really wanted to plug into our congregations and our organizations and figure out what matters within this city. 5 years ago today, we were in a completely different spot than we are now. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to come back together and reach out to our organizations and figure out what issues really matter. So in a minute, you're going to hear from some of our champions who are going to be talking about the 10 issues that our organizations came up with during the listening campaign. So what I want you all to do is I want you to listen really closely. I want you to pick out the issues that really, really speak to you. And I still want you guys to work just as hard, even if your issue does not get picked. Thank you.
Up first, to speak about affordable housing, we have Maggie Scott from Belmont United Methodist Church, along with Danielle Fletcher. Let's give it up.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Danielle Fletcher. And my name is Maggie Scott. We are members of the Affordable Housing Task Force. We are here to tell you why affordable housing should continue to be one of our key issues. We are all interconnected, and the well-being of marginalized Nashvillians impacts us all. There are increasing health, social, financial, and moral costs to our whole city with the increasing lack of affordable housing for people of different income levels, age groups, and physical abilities, not to mention racial and ethnic groups. As of 2015, there is projected to be a lack of 31,000 rental units by 2025, and that number is growing as we lose more and more of the existing affordable housing stock. It is difficult for students to learn when their family's housing situation is unstable. Nashville's economy falters when secure housing in reasonable proximity to the workplace is unaffordable and hard to find for teachers, restaurant and hotel workers, and firemen. In fact, many national healthcare companies are starting to recognize the lack of affordable housing is a serious health issue.
The mission of the current Affordable Housing Task Force is to organize and advocate for low and middle income Nashvilleans to obtain and retain quality and affordable housing. From our strategic planning, we aim to accomplish this by bringing awareness to the public as well as state and local leaders that the shortage of affordable housing in Nashville is a crisis. We know from our current mayor's recently revealed housing plan that this is not the time to give up on this issue. There is still much work to be done. Please vote for NOAH to continue the affordable housing issue in Nashville.
Now we will welcome Ann Quinn from Christ Church Cathedral to discuss child safety.
Good afternoon. So what is child safety? I believe it is the responsibility for every adult in this city to keep our children alive and safe and able to grow to their full potential. I believe that the way we go about this, we need to reestablish our communities. We once had communities of neighborhoods where people took care of each other and each other's children sometimes. We had churches where people felt a sense of community. We had schools that were like a community center. We had organizations that served our children. Our city and our nation have changed. Many times we don't even know our neighbors now, much less their children. Our churches are often dwindling in attendance. Our children may not be there. They don't have that support network. Our schools may be far away from the neighborhoods that they serve. And people really don't often think of their schools anymore as their community center. Organizations that used to serve our children have either disappeared or are dwindling in membership. And I believe that we have to work as a community of adults. Adults have to make these things happen, to find an alternative to the senseless violence that we hear about in the news much too often. And we have the responsibility to save our children, adults.
Now we welcome Ethan Link from Labor's International Union of America to discuss county infrastructure.
Good afternoon. I'm Ethan Link, and I'm a proud member of Labor's Local 386, the Central Labor Council, Stand Up Nashville, and the Economic Equity Task Force. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be a civil engineer to know that our neighborhood's infrastructure is not in good shape. Just like you don't have to be a Bible scholar to know what happened to the foolish man who built his house on the sand. If you're in Bordeaux, or you're in Bellevue, or you're in Antioch, when the rains come down and you look in your backyard, what happens? Floods come up. Our city's best and brightest have spent years trying to make sure that the tourist economy is doing well, that we've got big businesses that want to move downtown, and that we put our best foot forward on national TV. And that's all good and well, but we're still waiting on our sidewalks. We're still waiting on our flood protection. We're waiting for better bus service today. And we're waiting for our local workers to finally get a chance to build those projects. So infrastructure is a wonky term, but what it means is neighbors. And it means safe sidewalks. It means that, that the sidewalks that just stop in your neighborhood, that are overgrown and broken, they're not just an eyesore, they're unsafe. In 2018, there were 120 pedestrians who were killed in Tennessee by cars. 23 of those were in Nashville. But only 5 of those did the police ever find the driver who killed the person. And that all happened before the first scooter was dropped off downtown. Infrastructure means fixing stormwater before big developments happen, not figuring it out later. Right now, there's a backlog of $200 million of stormwater that needs to be worked on. But large businesses, non-residential businesses, only have to pay $400 at the maximum to deal with stormwater. It means an equity first, neighborhood first transit plan. A lot of folks weighed in loudly last time against the transit plan that was out here, and a lot of folks here probably voted against it for different reasons. I'm certain no one here thinks traffic isn't a problem. I'm certain no one here thinks that they don't want better bus service in their neighborhood. But we need a transit plan that starts with our neighborhoods and starts with equity. If you're downtown at a convention, you can ride a uniform electric bus free of charge. So, we need y'all to vote for infrastructure.
Okay, up next to discuss criminal justice, we have Teresa Smallwood from New Covenant Christian Church.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We call it criminal justice, but in my view, it is a misnomer. We don't have a criminal justice system, we have a criminal injustice system. Emma Lazarus said it best in the middle 19th century, until we are all free, none of us are free. It was picked up by Fannie Lou Hamer in the middle of the 19th century, said again by Martin Luther King, and I dare to say many of us have said it too. If we began with the issue of criminal justice and we haven't seen justice served yet, we cannot give up on the issue. For me, and I know you know this, but I'm here to champion this cause. For me, having worked in the criminal justice system as an advocate for people who were charged, I know that there is no such thing as paying your debt to society. Most people with any kind of criminal conviction will find some way to serve that sentence even after they are out. It is virtually a life sentence. And we must do something about it to make justice be served in that instance. But one of the things that I've learned about people is that if it doesn't affect my household, then it's not an issue for me. So let me make this issue very clear. There is something coming up called the 2020 census. You need to be concerned about criminal justice because it could be an issue for your own capacity to participate in democracy. In Nashville, we have a small percentage of prison-based gerrymandering now. But if it becomes an issue for how to keep up with the money, rest assured, it could be a problem for your neighborhood. Criminal justice is an issue we must keep.
Up next, we have Odessa Kelly from Mount Zion Baptist Church in SEIU to talk about economic equity.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I hope y'all don't mind. I know I usually make face contact, but I got 2 minutes and I'll go all day, so I'm just going to read, okay, so I can get all this in. Members of NOAA, men, women, student, clergy, and others in attendance today, I'm honored to be here to have the opportunity to champion economic equity in jobs and to convince you all that this is an issue that we should continue to be a platform that will uplift the fight, because as NOAA goes, the city goes. Now that I've gotten your attention, let me talk briefly about why this is important. I want to ask you a question. What is NOAA's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of our organization. For what you do now and what you decide may very well determine if NOAA will continue to be a catalyst that holds up our city accountable for its moral obligation to its residents. I want to suggest some things that should be in NOAA's blueprint. 1, job and wages. There should be a deep belief in your own dignity and your own worth and the dignity and worth of others. No, it doesn't allow anyone to feel that they are inferior or a nobody. Everyone should feel that they have worth and always that they always have ultimate significance. Where's the workforce development, the apprenticeships, the regulation of development, the pathway to thrive, and the enjoyment of life? Not just slaving through it. We need economic equity in jobs. 2, the working poor. There are so many people who work full-time jobs during the day to avoid shelter, then go burn the midnight oil just so they can eat and clothe themselves. That's insane. Nashville has stripped the dignity out of hard work, out of our cornerstones, and out of what makes this city special, and giving the value to entities that have no true worth in this city. I'd rather prioritize teachers, custodians, secretaries, maids, and city workers. In this third, in bedrock, I read Isaiah 10, verses 1 through 3. Woe to those who make unjust laws, legislate evil, and deprive those of the poor, who hold without justice and oppress for people. Man, that's deep. How can we ever fight for affordable justice, better education, eradicating the school-to-prison pipeline, criminal justice reform, healthcare, and any other pressing issues if we do not set the foundation for those things to stand on? Economic equity must be at the forefront of NOAA's issues.
Let's keep it going for Linda Robinson from Lee Chapel AME Church to talk about education.
Good afternoon. Equity in education is simply about how we get all schools and all kids what they need. It's about creating access and opening doors to opportunity for all kids. Equity means equity. Equity around funding, resources, academic opportunities, and fair wages for teachers. Thanks to the work of NOAA's School Discipline Reform Subcommittee, the district has made some gains in supporting students who are disfavored, disenfranchised, and who experience disproportionate treatment because of the color of their skin, their zip code, or the amount of money in their parents' pockets. There's still a fight to be had to address the systemic and multi-generational inequities of funding and resources in MNPS. It's a wonderful thing to recognize, NOAA, that serious and horrific disparities in opportunities and access exist. It's another thing to step up and do the work around forcing systemic change and refusing to passively perpetuate a system that's keeping its foot on the neck of our most vulnerable, our kids. We've got to step up and continue to fight the good fight around full funding for MNPS, so we're not fighting about whether teachers should get a fair and equitable raise or for care centers within MNPS's highest need schools. Both are necessary. Expand policies and practices around suspensions, expulsions, and in-school arrest of students, and reducing the horrific, serious disparity numbers for Black and brown students. Ensure all students in all schools have access to gifted and talented, STEAM, and early college high school opportunities. NOAA, let's do what we do. An education task force would ensure a mechanism to stand up and fight for change to the trajectory on the lives of all students. We must fight to provide opportunity, skills, and access to ensure a better future for all kids and their families, regardless. Equity is equity. Thank you.
Environment, we've got Kendall Coppervick from Vanderbilt University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kendall, and I am 23 years old. I was born on the hottest day of the year, July 12th, 1995. Headlines read, "Deadly heat wave strikes the Midwest, my poor mother." 1 month after my 10th birthday, a hurricane touched down in Louisiana. This past year, I had a friend who confided in me that she was planning on never having children. When I asked her why, she said this was because this was not the kind of world she wanted to raise a child in. For many of the people in this room, Climate change represents just that, a change. You were not born into this crisis, but I was. Fires, floods, disasters, these are my normal. These are the things I have to look forward to if we do not change. And I was looking at the list of issues on the table today and thinking to myself, which one of these is not intertwined with the environment? Which one of these is not inextricably linked to the need for clean air, plentiful water, and a livable planet? I've grown up acutely aware of the damage we are doing to our one and only home, and it weighs heavily on me. But I also see this as an opportunity, because the societal processes and institutions that have led us here, the belief that profit is more important than our planet and its people, especially Black, brown, and indigenous people, these are also at the root of so many of the other problems we've heard about today. Climate change and other ecological disasters represent a chance for us to restructure the fabric of our society. A clean energy transition and sustainable, equitable development. A commitment to green jobs, public transit, and environmental justice. A promise to future generations that we will work to weave protections for human dignity and health into our very way of life. Organizers spend a lot of time thinking about self-interest, so I'll end on this quote from Lady Bird Johnson. She once said, "The environment is where we all meet, where all have a mutual interest. It is the one thing that all of us share."
To talk about government transparency, we have Bishop E. Holmes Matthews. Thank you.
Thank you. With the election of a racist, misogynist, bigoted government this 2016, for us to have government transparency, we need openness, accountability, and honesty. This is the only way to hold the public officials accountable and enforce public integrity. Here in Nashville, we need to have accountability and transparency. Number one, disclose how much in tax credits are claimed by companies such as Amazon and the investment firm AllianceBernstein. Number two, many companies that receive taxpayers' money are not required to hire the number of workers promised to do and to meet these promises, the promised amount of jobs. Now, this was elected by our state officials to take that away from us. Number four, lift the veil of tax incentives that no one knows anything about but those who are in control. The blatant racism and prejudice of many elected officials against the Black and brown and LGBTQ community has to stop. It started at the top and has trickled down to Tennessee and Nashville in particular. I was once very proud to be a resident here, but once I've seen how our elected officials have trampled upon, taken advantage of, and misused the community, I stand as one who has second thoughts about why I'm here. This is prevalent. This is prevalent amongst our government officials. Government transparency is important. Who gets what money from what people politically motivated issues? I ask that you vote for government transparency. It covers all of us. God bless you.
To talk about health care, from Belmont United Methodist Church, Kyla Franks.
Hey, y'all. So everyone is impacted by the fact that we're going to get sick. Unless some of y'all are superhuman, which I don't doubt. People know I'm pretty powerful, but I think we're all going to get sick, and we're all going to need access to health care. And Tennessee is getting worse in terms of health care in our state, in Nashville as well. So there was a study that just came out last year that said that the uninsured rate has risen 10%. Our rural hospitals and our hospitals in Nashville and our hospitals all over are struggling because they don't have enough funding. So we know that there is a solution to this. That is expanding Medicaid, and that is coming up with a healthcare system that works for everyone. So what that looks like here in Nashville, this isn't some abstract, policy, it's real people. There have been people who have been advocating for equal access to healthcare for years, and they can't afford to wait any longer. You can't wait any longer to get treated for the diseases that are gonna kill you. So there's a mother who's been advocating for this for so many years, Michelle Fardan. She's been a leader in the healthcare fight. Her daughter was uninsured. She broke her toe and then had some complications. It was a little weird, but she didn't want to get it checked out. She just didn't have access to healthcare. She couldn't pay for it. So she just avoided it until it was too late, and there was a blood clot that got stuck in her lung and killed her. These are the stories that I hear every day working at the Tennessee Justice Center of Tennesseans who don't have access to affordable health care. And there's 300,000 Tennesseans who have absolutely no access to affordable health care, and they're living below the federal poverty line, which is $12,000 for a single individual. So people in this room, we can really make a difference. So people here are powerful and joining with other cities and advocating to our state government, advocating to the governor, writing op-eds, talking about the need for healthcare really makes a difference and can change the course of this state. So I really believe that, and it's not just for the uninsured, it's to help our hospitals and to help our whole healthcare system make it affordable for everyone. Thank you guys.
Our last champion, Dr. Connie Graves from Payne Chapel AME Church, to discuss sex trafficking.
Good afternoon. I'm here to declare that slavery is alive and well. And I'm not talking about the slavery of picking cotton. I'm talking about the slavery of child and sex trafficking. Not only in the United States, but in Tennessee, sex trafficking is a major problem. In the United States, did you know that every 2 minutes, a child is sold for sex? So many of those children that are on the milk box aren't missing, they're just sold to a place that we can't find them. The average age is 13, and just in case you're breathing a sigh of relief because you only have boys, 20% are male. Human sex trafficking is the fastest growing industry besides drug trafficking. Nashville is third behind New Orleans and Atlanta in the number of children that are trafficking. If you were paying attention to the news, in Franklin last year, in 2017, they actually had one of the largest busts of sex trafficking in the United States. Now, when we talk about sex trafficking, we can hit 3 major issues. First, child safety. Often children are recruited by other children. They prey on the poor, they prey on the immigrant, they prey on our brown children and our black children, telling them that they can have a better life, they can have more money. They actually recruit them from the schools. So if we're worried about child safety, think about sex trafficking. Second, criminal justice. Just call the name Centoria Brown. Not only was she a victim of sex trafficking, but she was a victim of our criminal justice system. Healthcare. Many of these women are dropped off, pregnant, no insurance, and it increases the risk of HIV, sexual trauma, and drug services. Gandhi said you can tell the greatness of a nation by how it treats its weakest citizens. So when we're talking about looking at things that we want to advocate for sex trafficking. Thank you.
Next, Marley.
Good afternoon, Noah. So these are fantastic issues, right? And I wish we could tackle all of them, but we need 3. So y'all have come together as your member organizations today, hopefully knowing one issue that your organization cares the most about. We are going to go back and choose 3, but we're going to do this in 3 rounds, as it's on the paper, but I'll encapsulate again quickly. This first round, you're going to say what is the number 1 issue that your organization cares the most about and is going to show up and work on a task force for. That is what you're going to do. Then we're going to go down by roll call. Your captain will stand where you're at and will say, we vote whichever one you pick. Whatever gets the highest votes, that will be that issue and it will be taken off. Then, as Martha asked earlier, we are going to have 8 minutes to caucus again and decide what's our second issue. Well, after one gets taken off, what's the next one we're going to work on? And we'll continue to go from there. So right now, since we've already had time to think about it, our organizations have come with our number 1 top issue. We're going to begin champions, if you want to go sit with your member organizations, please feel free to do so. So we're going to start with Alameda Christian Church. The champion from Alameda would stand. I'm sorry. Did you guys not have time to talk? Okay, we want to keep us on time. Let's do a brief 3 minutes. What's your top issue right now? Top issue right now. What is your organization going to cast their votes on? What's the number one issue your organization is going to work on?
Commitment today on what you will work on. Again, we have affordable housing, economic equity and jobs, and education. We have chosen these areas, and now it's up to all of us to bring about the necessary changes in this city of ours. And one thing we have to do now, we got to take these issues off the paper. If we don't do that, we will never be successful. We're not concerned now about making any position statements or resolutions. We got to get to work.
There you go.
And we have to go beyond good intentions and so-called powerful statements. It is our goal to win victories for justice. And the question is, how will we be able to accomplish our goals? As a part of the Gamaliel Network, we have to prepare now to go into the public arena. Even though we kept two of our previous issues, and technically we had also education as a part of the criminal justice task force. And if we're going to work hard in the public arena, this means we have to first of all be trained. We just can't go out unprepared to fight these battles. This means we will have to make some serious power analysis on how we will accomplish our goals. It means now that we must make some demands from these three areas. And we have to be committed if we're going to bring about change in Nashville. And we're going to have to agitate. We can't be peaceful in a way where we don't agitate others who are abusing justice. And we must go out now with some powerful actions, not just words. Now today's issue convention is Noah's clarion call for unity and action. Yes, I believe we are unified, but now we must go out and make the necessary actions in Nashville. And maybe your issue was not chosen today, but this doesn't stop any of us will continue to work on maybe the issue that you favored. And we want to let you know if your issue was not chosen today, there are other organizations or part of NOAA who will work with you. We are not just abandoning these issues. Every problem area that was voted on today is very important. So if that's your issue, just let other organizations or part of NOAA to know. And we will work in collaboration with you. And one of the main issues that we can do is that if we as an organization now begin to prepare. Now we are Nashville justice workers. We're not just justice talkers, because talking is cheap. We're not just justice philosophers with all the great ideas. We are not even justice dreamers. But we, as a part of NOAA, we are the enlisted justice workers for Nashville. Now, if NOAA is going to be successful, we all need to work on some task force. Now, earlier you received cards, and now you have the opportunity, you know what 3 issues that we have voted on. Now, this is the first step. Now, when you sign this card, we accept this, that you are making a promise or covenant to work in these areas. We need all of you to work hard for this. When we first got started with NOAA, the Chamber of Commerce gave us a life sentence of about 6 months. They said, don't worry about NOAA. We guarantee in 6 months they'll be off the scene. But in 5 years, we're stronger than ever. And we're going to continue to be strong for Nashville. So now we have these issues. We got to let Nashville know that we're on the scene. We want to be at the table with every major decision-making group of Nashville. We will have to demand that we have a seat at the table. We're going to fight hard. We're going to bother folks. We're going to call people. If we have to march, we will march. We're going to be at all of the major council meetings, at the planning commission, wherever it's important for us to make a decision, we will be there. They will know that NOAA is in the house. And when you go to meetings now, stand up right, we might have some more pins. Anytime you go to a meeting, be certain that you have your NOAA pin on, or a t-shirt, or something to let folks know you represent what? NOAA. So we are important that we're going to do this, and I believe we still have some pins, and we're going to get some more t-shirts made now, and that you will be able to do this. So we are working hard for NOAA. Now, if we're going to do this, please take time to sign these cards and give the necessary information that we may keep in contact with you. We will be able to call you and give emails and whatever social media that we will entertain. We just want to stay in touch. And we don't grow tired of doing the work for justice. We just pray for a little more power. And we have to be equipped to use our power. Now we have 2 trainings coming up. We have a local training. You will see the information. We have a date for the local training. Hopefully we will be meeting this week with a call meeting, and we will have that the place by our next board meeting. Our board meeting will be at Clark United Methodist Church. That's 1014 14th Avenue North. And we ask that you will come that night. And very soon, we will be making commitments for our local training. And the local training, you will see that it will be held in August the 17th. But also, it's very important, we are a part of the Camellia Foundation. And one of the key points is that we be trained in their methodology. And now we have a meeting one of our national meetings, which will be held June the 23rd. Right now, I think we only have 2 committees. Do you have any more, Mike? And our consultant kind of jumped on us at a meeting last week. If you only have 2, so we want you to become a part of this and go to the 7-day training. I guarantee you, you will be a different person. And persons who have been to the 7-day training, just stand briefly as I close. Stand, we want to see these people. You all been to a 7-day training. All right. And we appreciate that. So we got to get out now and do the work. And if you want to go, you can speak to me or Mike or where's Courtney and where is Alexandra. One of those, you can Courtney, raise your hand. You can see her and get the information to go to the 7-day training. And that's very important. But we will give you all the information about the first local training. But now the next step is now. For these 3 task forces, even though 2 are already established, education in a way is established because it was an integral part of the criminal justice task force. But we want you to do this. We will not meet today to do this, but we get the information and we will set a date. So please just take time to see which of these you are willing to give your time and effort and energy to make all that we would do for Nashville a success. Again, we want to thank you for coming out and making this commitment. So that meant we had 303 votes today. I know some of you came in late, so we probably had at least 325 people here. But to those who were able to cast votes, we cast 303 votes today for those 3 issues. Again, we thank you, and at this time, we will call Tanya to come. We got another commitment we want to make. Again, we want to thank her for keeping the record for us today. I want to thank all the persons who are on our program today who worked hard and made commitment. And at this time, we will ask Tanya again for our next public meeting.
Hey everyone! Okay, repeat after me. Sunday, July 14th. 3 p.m. Noah's Mayoral Candidate Forum. Sunday, July 14th. 3 p.m. Noah's Mayoral Candidate Forum. Now, we don't know yet. You'll get that later. Put it on the calendar. Just hold on. Okay. So, the process that we just completed means absolutely nothing if the elected officials don't believe that we are serious and intentional about making Nashville a just city for all, not just the people and entities with the most resources. There are 10 confirmed, 2 less than last year, mayoral candidates. Last year we had a dozen of them. When we hold these candidate forums, we ask the candidates, how will they handle NOAA-specific issues? They need to see that Nashville voters care enough to come out showing their concern and support. If you don't show up, or you don't bring your organization's members, you will not be taken seriously by those who are making the decisions that affect us every day. That ain't cool. Next, do you realize that your tax dollars pay their salaries? If you're retired, your tax dollars did pay their salaries. If you have never worked, your family's tax dollars are paying their salaries. So these candidate forums can and should be viewed as sort of a public interview. With that, bringing as many people to these forums so that they can become better informed voters will result in electing candidates who best fit your self-interest. Not just doing the same thing over and over again because it's what we're used to. We have to become informed and educated voters. Now, when is the mayoral candidate forum again? You're so good. Okay, once the venue is nailed down, that information will be published and made public. Thank you all so much for your time and attention.
Yes, Representative to the comments coming at this time. Give closing remarks and helping us with marching orders once again.
Good afternoon, Noah. Indeed, this is the day that the Lord has made. I am happy about it. Listen, I have an announcement. This Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, there's a council meeting about economic equity and education. This Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Metro Courthouse. This is a council meeting. It is my charge to give us some marching orders. Noah, you look like a community to me. When I look out, I see ordinary, everyday people from every walk of life, from diverse races and ethnicities, from diverse faith communities, labor communities, and nonprofit communities, all having one vision in common, and that is a serious desire to ensure the creation and viability of the beloved community where justice, equity, and liberation is realized for all. Noah, that is our common good, our common vision. But we know that there are forces, structures, and systemic evil that is hell-bent on derailing the work we are doing to usher in the beloved community. This is not only our 2019 Issues Convention, it is also our celebration of what it means to organize and use our power for good. For the past 5 years, we have worked together to fight against the injustices in this city, the IT city, that has inflicted upon the least of these, the very people who make up Noah, the very people we are called to serve, has inflicted atrocities against them. But thanks be to God, our hard work and commitment, we have experienced many wins, many victories against the injustices in the 3 issues that we undertook. We called a spade a spade. We held elected officials and others in seats of power accountable. We partnered with other like-minded organizations to stand up to power brokers who would inflict atrocities of injustice. But we cannot sit on our laurels, for just as sure as we do, the system of racist governance will seek to overturn, move the needle back on the strides that we have made. We must be watchdogs and watch over the work we were charged to do for the least of these. Listen, Noah, we still have work to do. This is round 2 of this fight. We have identified our top 3 issues. These issues help us to understand that our democracy is still in chains. And Noah, we are called to use our power to break the chains of injustice. We are called to break the chains of injustice on affordable housing, economic equity and jobs, and education. We know that this country's very ethic was built upon a foundation of white supremacy, and that white privilege will do all within its power to preserve that way of life. This, beloved, is a malignant cancer of injustice that we must continue to organize and fight against. And I don't know about you, but in round 2, I still have a fight in me. The question I ask you, do you still have a fight in you? You ought to turn to your neighbor and ask them, do you still have a fight in you? This is our rallying cry. I still have a fight in me. Listen, it doesn't matter. It does not matter who the mayor is. It matters not who the council at large members are. It matters not who sits on the school board. They need to understand this. We are coming for them. We are coming for them as representatives of systems that are evil and perpetuate systemic racism that is oppressive, divisive, and immoral. No, the work of justice is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the wimp. It's not for those concerned about being politically correct. But round two is for those of us who still have a fight in us. Noah, if you're ready to fight, I need you to stand up. Stand on your feet and shout out, I still have a fight in me. I still have a fight in me. Noah, don't you dare give up. Don't you dare give in. Don't you dare quit. You still have a fight in you. Let's get ready to rumble. Spirit of life and love, you have been helping us be strong for the long haul. People have been jumping on the ark that the Lord has told us is going to bend towards justice. We've been jumping on it for hundreds of years, and we are jumping on it still. So, Spirit of life and love, take that love, take it. That passion that has brought us here, that has built this beloved community, that has fueled us in the years in the past, and make that churn, agitate our own hearts and hands and feet so that we can keep jumping on that ark until all of that evil of white supremacy culture, the patriarchy, and we have got it down flat on that ground, and people all can join us, for we are their conscience, and we will pull them in as we move forward. We help us remember to turn to one another when we're tired, when we're discouraged, for those times to come, when we are in pain and despair. We've seen it so many times, heartbroken in these years past, and it will happen again. May we turn to one another and lift one another up, knowing that we are all worth more than what some of the leaders and the rulers of this land teach us that we are. We know from your power, Spirit of life and justice, that we are worth all the stars and all the Holy Spirit in this universe. And that together we can lift each other up when we are down and keep on.
for the long haul. We give thanks for these past years. We give thanks for each other in this room and for everyone that we represent. We give thanks for this work of being the conscience of Nashville that we carry forward. Blessed be and amen.
Again, we thank everyone. Again, let's get to work.